Are we back? Yes, yeah, we are. Uh, it's been another month. Really thought I could get, 2 episodes out in 2 consecutive weeks, but anyway, welcome back to the TWIR, not-so-weekly podcast. It's a championship, it's post-championship, week for the Cup Series, and all of NASCAR, really, so that's where we're gonna start. Trucks. Trucks were looking a lot like ARCA. I didn't watch the race, and I'm actually really glad that I didn't. Um, it seemed like a complete waste of time, and a lot of the team owners are mad. And I know, Black Flags Matter just came out with a good video on it. So go watch that. Trucks, yeah, they devolved into ARCA. Ben Rhodes got his second title, and I'm gonna say, not really that deserved. I think, literally any of the other three probably should have won the title. Hocevar, Heim, or who else was it? Enfinger, Grant Enfinger. A lot of lasts. First of many lasts for NASCAR. Final truck race for GMS Racing. They're shutting down their truck team to focus on Legacy Motor Club and the Cup Series. Of course, they're switching over to Toyota. Final race for Kyle Busch Motorsports. Really didn't think I would be saying that. The year they get their 100th win, they end their time as a Truck Series organization with 100 career truck wins. But speaking of Carson Hocevar and Corey Heim, late race restart. I still don't really know what happened because I really haven't bothered to look, because I just heard that race was absolute crap and a waste of time, so I just never watched the highlights. But controversy between Heim and Hocevar. Heim put Hocevar on the wall near the end of the race, probably costing him the title, also costing Heim the title. Heim ended up getting fined for it. I don't remember how much. Let's see here. He was penalized. I think he really should have been suspended for Daytona. He was fined $12,500 and docked 25 driver points. Like, the points matter. The points don't matter. That's the thing. It's the championship 4 format, which means points don't matter. So he basically just falls to 4th in the standings. So yeah, he kind of pulled a Jeff Gordon, Clint Boyer kind of move. On to Xfinity. I'm trying to keep this as a short episode because I don't have that much time. Xfinity. Cole Custer. Really glad to see the resurgence of Cole Custer after getting demoted last year. Really glad to see Stuart Haas actually won something this year. In terms of being a deserving champion, I think so. He won, I don't know. He won 2 races or 3? Because I know he won Chicago. I mean, yeah, he won. He won 3 races. Chicago, Portland. Chicago wasn't really a race; it was just a parade. And then he won Phoenix. Mainly just because John Hunter Nemechek kind of threw it away, wrecked late. Sucks for the 20, because I think if the 20 won the title, he would be the most deserving out of the 4. He won something like 6 or 7 races this year. I'll do a stat. I'll do a show later in the week where it's just stats. So I'll look at that later. Cup Series, 10th year for the Cup Series of the elimination style playoff format. And it was the first time in those 10 years that the champion of the series did not win the race. Ross Chastain won the race. They didn't show him smashing the watermelon on the front stretch on live TV because they were showing Ryan Blaney doing burnouts on what used to be the front stretch of Phoenix Raceway. So Ryan Blaney really came out of nowhere until he won the Coke 600. He then just kind of stayed quiet. Made the round of 8. Or no, he stayed quiet, made the round of 12. He won Talladega over Kevin Harvick, and then Harvick got disqualified for his windshield being loose, despite them not having tampered with it, which I think is kind of a dumb penalty because it was completely out of their control. It's just simple aerodynamics. And then moves on to the round of 8. Blaney wins Martinsville, goes to the championship 4, finishes second, wins the title because he's the highest of the championship 4. Yeah, first time that the champion in the Cup Series has not won the championship race. So kind of an interesting little bit there. Let's go on here. Yeah, Christopher Bell. Everyone on Twitter was going, "Take a look at what he did," because he blew a tire and he rode the wall in 3 and 4, which put him out early. So sucks for Christopher Bell, but congratulations to Ryan Blaney. Other NASCAR news, not really much though, in terms of silly season or driver switches. That's kind of happened already. Actually, there were a few that I haven't talked about. I'm not sure if I talked about like a month ago when I last did this show that Hailie Deegan's going to AM Racing in the 15 car. There's also Brennan Poole. This was announced yesterday, I think, that Brennan Poole is moving from JD Motorsports to Alpha Prime Racing in the 44 car, which just leaves the 45 open because we know Jeffrey Earnhardt's not coming back. We don't really know where he's going to land. The JD Motorsports number 6 is open. Wouldn't be surprised if RCR gives him a ride in the 2 car. Wouldn't actually. No. Wait, that's the other. That's the other silly season. Jesse Love's going to the 2 car for RCR. So that leaves Austin Hill staying. So that leaves a 3rd car for either Jeffrey Earnhardt if he has the money, or Ty Dillon, which Ty Dillon has the money at least to run a few races in a 3rd car like he did this year. He's out of a Cup ride, so he might as well. Oh, never mind. On my note sheet, late ad. Mike Davis is retiring from the Dale Jr. download, and he basically just spilled on air saying that Ty Dillon's going to the 16. So never mind. I am slacking today. Other NASCAR news that I actually have written down on my notes document. Ford revealed the Mustang Dark Horse as the new 2024 Cup car, and it looks beautiful. As much as I love the GT500, it did go 100% in terms of championships. Every championship year that it entered, it ended up winning. So I want to see if the Dark Horse lives up to the legacy. But I love the GT500, but the Dark Horse looks mean. If you look at the fenders, I'll throw up a picture for people watching on YouTube, which you all should be watching on YouTube. I don't think you'd be watching anywhere else yet. You may be soon, but that's still something I'm working on. But the fenders are like wings of their own. They're like big and pointy, and they're giant downforce factories. So, and in Bob Pockrass's little press release about the Ford Cup car rollout, he said that Toyota will have a new Cup car next year. Chevy will not, because they're phasing out the Camaro. They have to look for a completely new brand. So, moving to INDYCAR. Haven't talked about INDYCAR in a while. Haven't talked about anything in a while. It's been a month since I've recorded one of these. Anyway, Pietro Fittipaldi's going to the 30 car for Ray Letterman Lanigan. I've heard that Enzo, I think it's his brother. It's either his brother or his cousin. He looks like he's going to coin in either the 18 or the 51. Yeah, Enzo's Pietro's brother. But Enzo might be either going to the 18 or the 51 because both rides are open. Sad that Stingray Rob won't get a seat, but that's auto racing for you. But for the other seat that remains open, there are really two schools of thought here for where Dale Coyne goes for his second driver for the Rick Ware car. Or the 18. We don't really know if Enzo's going to follow in his brother's footsteps and drive the 51 or if he's going to take the 18. If it's the 51, I'm probably going to say, it doesn't really matter. The two front runners for the other Coyne seat are Daniel Frost because he has the money, and Devlin DeFrancesco because he has the money, and Andretti kicked him out because he's a terrible driver. And by terrible driver, I'm not bagging on Devlin DeFrancesco because he's still in like the top 1% of all drivers. He is not Andretti caliber. He was kind of just used by Andretti as a cash cow. So kind of unfortunate, but hopefully he gets a spot. Did really well at Indy on the Indy road course this year. Ray Letterman Lanigan also kept Yuri Vips under contract, which this is probably the worst idea that I've heard in the last month, that RLL might be expanding to a fourth part-time car. And we saw how terrible the 44 performed at Indy. And to be fair, it was Catherine Legg and not Yuri Vips, and I think Yuri Vips is a really good driver. But still, RLL has way too many problems to be thinking about expansion right now. Like, 3 of the 4 cars in the last row shootout were the RLL cars this year. So they really have to figure out what is wrong with their car setup, especially for the 500, because that's the big one. So they really shouldn't be even thinking about expanding to a fourth car, because that's sure. I know they want to be like Penske and Ganassi and be like powerhouse teams, but that's just not going to happen. Their equipment's bad right now. No one really knows why, but they have to figure it out before they continue expanding, so they don't just keep throwing money into the fire. Linus Lundqvist and Will Power went to Milwaukee to test the short track package there, and from what I've heard, everything went well. Augustine Canapino's back. He will drive the 78 for Juncos Hollinger next year. Good to see him back. I think he did really well at the back half of the season. He did really well in Indianapolis for a rookie, and did really well at Texas for a rookie. Sadly, we won't be going to Texas this year. Thanks, NASCAR. But yeah, Canapino's back. Hopefully he lives up to some expectations. And has a good run in May. Because I'd love to see the Argentina car back again. There was some testing at IMS, rookie orientation for Kyle Larson, who of course is doing the double, the Coke 600 and the Indy 500 for McLaren and Hendrick. Larson, Marcus Armstrong, Linus Lundqvist, and Tom Blomqvist completed their 500 rookie orientation programs. So that's good. They're all good for May, and they can jump right into practice, and hopefully that's less ROPs we have to worry about before we can get full field practice. Because full field practice is fun to put on in the background when you have nothing else to do. Big headline story in the last couple weeks. Juncos Hollinger fired their other driver. Specifically after McLaren formed a technical alliance with them because of Callum Ilott, they fire Callum Ilott. So, yeah, it's kind of a funny development that they basically just get the tech because McLaren wants to support Ilott, and then they just kick Ilott out. But the replacement is going to be Romain Grosjean, which is really nice to see Grosjean get a drive. Hopefully he finishes the 500 this year. That'll be really good to see. So, yeah, best wishes to Romain Grosjean and his new his manufacturer switch and his team switch. He's now going to be driving for Ricardo Juncos, who I still find it really funny that Juncos and McLaren are in a technical partnership after what happened at Bump Day in 2019. Roll the clip.
Let's listen to the radio. Yard of bricks. Kyle Kaiser. Has he knocked Alonso out? He has! Oh!
So yeah, I think it's pretty funny that McLaren and Juncos are teaming up now after what happened in 2019. But moving on to the FIA WEC. We had the wrap up of season 10 or season 11 of the FIA World Endurance Championship. Yeah, it was season 11. Season 10 was last year. So yeah, we had the wrap up of season 11 in the 8 hours of Bahrain. Toyota won the title. Who could have guessed? Ferrari did really good this year. They're gonna need to step up if they want to be challenging Toyota for race to race in terms of wins and being able to fight for a title. They won Le Mans. Very happy they won Le Mans. Just really happy to see someone other than Toyota win Le Mans for the first time in 5 years. So that was fun. And the GTE era, man, I am very sad that GTE is going away. It just ended up getting too expensive. Manufacturers pulled out. BMW, Ford, Aston Martin. Aston Martin didn't pull out completely, but they did leave the Pro class, which hurt the Pro class. They got rid of that at the end of last year. It was just the AM class this year. Congratulations to Ben Keating on winning the title, but Iron Dames got a win for the all-female team in the 85 Iron Lynx Porsche. So good for them as they switch to Lamborghini next year as they run the Lamborghini LMDH car in IMSA and in the World Endurance Championship. A week after the 8 hour, we also had the rookie test, which there were a few veterans and then a few like quote unquote rookies. They're not like really rookies, but they're brought in from other series and they don't compete in sports cars. We had Nico Varone, the championship winning driver for Corvette this year in GTE AM, and Kiffin Simpson testing the Ganassi number 2 Cadillac hypercar. So that was cool. Bobby Schwartzy, Robert Schwartzman tested for Ferrari in their hypercar, and Valentino Rossi tested a renumbered number 46 WRT LMP2 car. He might look at running Le Mans this next year. Another last at the end of this WC season, LMP2 is not going to be full time next year. It's just going to be hypercar and GT3, which is going to be really weird because I love LMP2, but it's great for as an American because in IMSA over here we get more LMP2 cars. Because we're getting all the LMP2 refugees from Europe. And so our ELMS and the Asian Le Mans series that seeing some boost in car count there too. That's all the news I have here that's not under the other news category in my notes. We had Graham Rahal, Bobby and Graham Rahal create a Moto America team. That was kind of out of the blue. They're partnering up with Ducati. I really don't follow Moto America, so I don't really know what the context of this is. We had some lasts in NASCAR. This was Kevin Harvick's final Cup start, and with Kevin Harvick's retirement, not a single driver, not a single active driver, was in NASCAR. Was in NASCAR before the playoffs. So every driver that is driving full time in the Cup Series now has been there. Was a rookie after 2003. So 2004 and on. I think the oldest active drivers it's either it's one of Gibbs's drivers. Gotta Google it now. It's all Norm Benning. I love that. It's the oldest active NASCAR driver. It's giving me all the results are Norm Benning. So let's go to longest active NASCAR driver. Yeah, it's Harvick, and then yeah, it was Harvick, and I think it's like either Truex or it's one of Gibbs's drivers behind him. But we also had it was the last race for Legacy Motor Club with Toyota, or with Chevy. They're going to Toyota. Last race for Harvick. Last race for Live Fast Motorsports as a charter team. The first race in the 10-year elimination format, in the 10-year history of the elimination format, where the championship winner hasn't won the race. Talked about that already. Yeah, it was a historic weekend last weekend for NASCAR. And I think that's it. All right, down here. Lexus is coming back to European motorsports because if you remember a few years ago, Tech 1 Racing had run in GT World Challenge. The team that was known as ACA ASP, it's now like Akotis ASP. They're bringing Lexus back. They're switching from Mercedes to Lexus and Toyota Racing Development to bring Lexus back into European motorsports because mainly Lexus has been staying in America, where they won the GTD Pro Championship. Congratulations to Vassar Sullivan. I don't think we talked about that either. And in Japan in Super GT, and I'm sorry to the Super GT teams that run Lexus because I can't think of them off the top of my head because I don't watch Super GT. I'm not up at 2 a.m. Sad day for privateer WEC fans. Glickenhaus has announced that their WEC program has come to an end. They're still trying to get into IMSA. I'm not hopeful. So for now, the final race for the Glickenhaus 007 was the 6 hours of Monza, where wasn't this year they won the pole and blew a turbo. That was last year. This year and last year, in terms of WEC, are bleeding into each other. Yeah, it wasn't. That was 2022 when they won the pole and then blew a turbo. All right, moving on. Phil Hansen's going to be JDC Miller's Endurance Cup driver for 2024 in the Banana Boat car. JDC Miller's not ruling out a second car when Porsche is ready to give out new customer cars in 2025. But they'll just stick with one next year. It'll be two factory Penske cars, JDC and Proton and IMSA, and it'll be. Is Joda going to go to a second? Joda's not going to go to it. Yeah, they might. I need to look at this because I completely forgot if this broke over the summer. Yeah, this is this is from September. Joda closing in on a deal to run a second Porsche in the 2024 WEC. I don't know if that ever happened, but it is still on the table. This just broke like 2 minutes ago. Van Wall is, remember them? Yeah, they've been languishing at the back of the field all year in probably the best looking car on the grid. Van Wall is reworking the engine. They're going to change the engine from the Gibson LMP2 engine to it's going to be a it's a turbocharged unit, and they know what engine it's going to be. They just haven't announced the engine. My best guess is a Nissan V8. And if they're really stupid, they're going to put the Mechachrome engine that the Janettas had for Le Mans in 2018 that made them horrendously slow. So hopefully Colin Cullis wasn't stupid and chose Nissan over Mechachrome. Gibson has declined to comment to motorsport.com about the power output, which means it was probably worse because they were languishing well behind the LMP2 cars. So I wouldn't be surprised if they got nerfed. At least the thing runs. I can't even. At least the thing runs. I want to see it finish Le Mans this year. I need that. I will be so happy. Even if Toyota wins the Le Mans again next year in 2024, as long as Van Wall finishes the race, I'll be happy. So, yeah. The hypercar field is likely to be oversubscribed next year. Should Ferrari decide that they want to start throwing out customer cars. Also, Peugeot. Didn't talk about this last podcast. Peugeot's adding a wing. It was a really cool experiment. It did really well at a few tracks. It did really well at Le Mans. I wanted to see a Peugeot win at Le Mans so bad. Probably could have if the 94 didn't lose it in the middle of the night. But yeah, Peugeot's adding a wing next year. I don't know how that's going to affect their Le Mans performance. I don't have the full numbers or anything. I'm just looking for stuff now. And the final thing I have on my little bulletin of notes is Christian Reed, the only driver that has run every single WEC race to date, will retire next year. He has been driving for Proton the whole time. He will focus on being a team principal and will I wouldn't be surprised if he runs Le Mans because Proton always shows up with an absurd amount of cars at Le Mans. So wouldn't be surprised if there's a seat open for him somewhere. But he's going to be retiring from full-time WEC competition, which means that come the season opener in Qatar next year, not a single driver on the grid would have competed in every single WEC race. Which, for Christian Reed, that's 85 races over 11 years. That's really impressive for a bronze-rated driver. Very, very respectable career for Christian Reed. Congratulations on a very successful driving career, and hopefully he still continues. Sports car news won't load. Moving on to another story, because we still have 15 minutes of time to kill. Speaking of Vassar Sullivan, we were talking about them earlier when I was talking about Lexus coming back to Europe. Jack Hawksworth and Ben Barnicoat are staying on the team to defend the title. TF Sport announced their Asian Le Mans Series lineup with Sally Olick and Charlie Eastwood, who drove the INDYCAR. If you remember, 2019-2020 WEC, supposed to be the best season ever because we wanted to see Ginetta win Le Mans. Ginetta pulled out, and it all fell onto Rebellion. We thought Bahrain was going to be great because Rebellion would come back with 2 cars. We thought Ginetta would come back with 2 cars, and we thought at one point that Baikalus would come back with their 1 car, and that just never happened. We just ended up with the 2 Toyotas and the most boring WEC race ever. But anyway, the 2 TF Sport drivers from that year, Sally Olick and Charlie Eastwood, are going to be in the Asian Le Mans Series next year. Wayne Taylor Racing Andretti added a full season Lamborghini GTD entry for Kyle Marcelli and Danny Formal. So that's the number 45 car. TDS Racing signed Hunter McElroy for the endurance races. So that's interesting. Colin Brown got a drive. Really happy that Colin Brown was able to secure a drive after Meyer Shank left the GTP class. Colin Brown, incredibly talented prototype driver. Always rooted for him when he was driving the Core Autosport Nissan DPI. Just the goofy little right-hand drive DPI. Always rooted for him. Good to see he got a drive. He's driving for the 04 with his GT World Challenge co-driver George Kurtz. He's going to be in the CrowdStrike LMP2 car. Let's see here. Mid-Ohio got repaved. Or they completed the repave. They started it pretty much immediately after the NASCAR race, I think. Which, makes sense. Because you want to maximize your amount of off-season time. Yeah, out of the 10 IndyCar teams, we're going back to silly season here. There are 6. 6 out of the 10 full-time teams have completed their lineups. What we're looking for is Foyt. Foyt wouldn't be surprised if they keep Benjamin Peterson because he has some backing, and I think he did really well at the 500 for a rookie. Wouldn't be surprised one bit if they keep Santino. Wouldn't be surprised one bit if they fired him. Really would want to see him come back and try and win the 500 for AJ Foyt, but sometimes dreams don't happen. But Connor Daly hinted on Twitch the other day about that the Foyt seats are completely that the Foyt seats are booked. So that's an interesting little tidbit. He didn't say who, but he did say that the Foyt seats are a lock. So Connor Daly is no longer full-time driving. He's just mouthing off about silly season on Twitch now. So good on you, Connor. Keep doing the Lord's work. Yeah, there's 2 coin seats that remain open. I think Enzo Fittipaldi is pretty much a shoe-in for one of them, and the other one's going to be a race between Devlin DeFrancesco and Daniel Frost. Just basically whoever brings more money. And you know what? If both of them bring a decent amount of money, I wouldn't be surprised if Dale Coyne opens the third car, because it's Dale Coyne. Dale Coyne just needs all the money he can get. Where else? There is a little chatter of Brian Herta Autosport coming back with Beth Peretta running Tatiana Calderon in a fourth Andretti car. So we don't really know if it's going to be 3 or if it's going to be 4 with Brian Herta throwing in another car. And talked about Yuri Vips already being a 4th part-time RLL car. Stupid idea, because the RLL cars are just kind of holding up everybody else. As lap traffic, there's no way they're going to be at the front of the field. We got there's nothing else in here. Yeah, I'm looking at Marshall Pruitt's mailbag right now on Racer.com, and it says that Foyt is keen to move ahead with Santino Ferrucci. I need to do more reading before I start recording, just so I don't have to scroll Google the whole time I'm recording. So I'll keep that in mind for next week's episode. Hopefully I record next week and it won't be another 3 years before I post another video. Last time Ferrucci completed 2 consecutive seasons with an IndyCar team was 2019 and 2020 with Dale Coyne. Really interesting. Stingray Rob's name has been floating around the 55 Foyt entry, which is really interesting because I thought it's really it's looking to be either Peterson or Stingray Rob, and I don't know if they're going to change the number from 55, because remember it was supposed to be 88 to celebrate AJ Foyt's 88th birthday, but apparently someone came out and said it was racist, and they caved in and changed it. So it was the 55 this year. I wouldn't be surprised if they change it back to the 4 or the 41. If Stingray Rob or Benjamin Peterson, it doesn't matter, because the point of having the 55 there doesn't even matter anymore. They really should have just given the 41, the 4 or the 41 back to the second Foyt car after the 88 got wiped from the car. So Christian Rasmussen's going to be in the Ed Carpenter number 20. He's going to be sharing that car with Carpenter. So just like old times, Carpenter's going to be in the 20 for the 500, and I'm presuming that Rasmussen's going to be in the third car, which I don't know. I doubt it's going to be the 33. They're probably just going to pull a random number out of a hat and call it a day. So I don't know. So just kind of, there's also, contractual, residual contract squabbling with Romain Grosjean and Andretti, but it's probably over now, because it's not like an Alex Palou situation where they got to keep him for another year. So, because Juncos came out and openly signed him. So I think that deal is done and dusted. But that is the end of the news, so it's time for YouTuber plugs. Yeah, I gotta do this whole, YouTube thing about, viewer retention, and yeah, I probably should have done this at the beginning. But yeah, if you made it this far and you have questions, comment down below. I will answer them next episode. I will put them into my notes. Just make sure to comment. I should probably just put a little thing at the beginning of the podcast just to remind the people that might not stick around as long. And if you have any hot takes, about, silly season or the way a series or a team or anything is being run, comment those down below. I'll react to them next episode. So that will be that'll be quite interesting, wouldn't it? But I gotta plug the other stuff. So make sure to, if you enjoyed listening, I'm gonna try and make these better. But make sure to like the video, subscribe, share with your friends that are like so obsessed with cars that this is like their dream music. And I have a main channel. If like rocket stuff is your thing, I'll start uploading over there. If you're interested in like, things that have like flames at the bottom and are big pointy and they go up till you can't see them anymore. So yeah, go over there. I'll have a link in the description. There's some Discord servers down below that you can join to interact with the auto racing community. So that'll be really fun. So just make sure to like, subscribe, join some Discords down below. I'm not being paid to promote the Discords. Those are just ones that I just kind of hang around in. Especially join Left Turn Lounge and just like spam H everywhere. So, Anyway, that will be it for this episode of the TWIR weekly podcast. Hopefully, gonna live up to the weekly name, and I will hopefully release another one in the next 7 days. So, until next time, my name's Nathan, and have a great day.